He's tapping in with you. What's going on? Something that I predicted a few months ago. Probably was about the top of, let's say, um, 2025, right? Late 2024, as all of these things were starting to happen when it comes to MAGA and it comes to Elon Musk. First of all, I'm being rude. Welcome to my channel on 19 Keys. I'm a thought leader. Sometimes I like to give social commentary on the things that I see: micro, macroeconomic trends, technological trends, social shifts, and even tie that into a lot of cosmic things that happen and that make sense on a very practical and logical level. Right? On this channel, I like to make predictions, but I also like to give solutions. I like to give people guidance on what's going on in the world so you feel clear and you're not walking around with confusion and darkness about the world itself and what's happening. And when you understand things at a high level, knowledge does not become a burden. It actually lightens the load because you're no longer confused. So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting subject, and this subject is two saviors, right? We're living and existing in a time where people have made, right, Donald Trump and Elon Musk their saviors, right? Specifically when it comes to the future of this country. A lot of men and women have looked at both of these guys into thinking that these are going to be the ones that save America. Now, y'all know that my message has always been save yourself. And that message continues to ring louder and louder and louder as America continues to unfold the way I thought that this origami would. So we're essentially at this red hat versus the electric car, the Trump versus Elon Musk. And your saviors are at war. This might be the best thing that can happen to your identity. MAGA isn't just a political movement, it became a personality. Trump was a father figure, and Elon was this techno rich uncle that knew it all and could solve things. And a lot of people start looking for them as kings, right? At the end of Rome, we see oligarchical shifts that happen. People started ignoring the people and they started feeding their own pockets. This always creates a scourge, right? To where the people already war with each other. This is the war, the ultimate war of the elites. If you've been following my page, you know I predicted that, excuse me, there would be a MAGA civil war. I predicted this just looking at the archetypes, number one, and also the fact that we're on 2025, and in 2025 we're going to go through a solar flare peak. Right now, what does this have to do with everything? Well, this peak happened somewhere around July, right? And during these times, this puts people in irritable moods, right? This puts people in to where they don't get as much sleep, heart rate palpitations. This has an effects on technology, and historically, this also sets a signal to where there happens to be recessions and financial collapses that follows this. Now, what I'm talking about is essentially more solar flares coming to Earth and having effects on electromagnetic activity. The reason why this is so important is because when you see them always saying that there's an aurora borealis, right, that may be in view, that's meaning that there's electromagnetic activity hitting the Earth's atmosphere, right? And what you're seeing is a colorful display of what that looks like when we go through those clashes. Now, what is not talked about often on the news or ever is how this affects humanity and how this affects people, because you can also correlate social unrest and social conflict with areas like this. This is why I did an episode you can go back to with Lloyd, who is a numerologist, and I talked about why 2025 was going to be the year of conflict. And we've seen many conflicts happen, right? And so this one was always on my radar to happen, right? And it's actually 100% on time. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are going at it by the cosmos. You understand me? Now, some people are saying that maybe this is planned, maybe it's unplanned. Here's the thing about alphas. Alphas don't usually like other alphas, and these guys love to see themselves as alphas, right? They have the dark triad traits. It doesn't make sense for them to operate in a collaborative manner unless, of course, it benefits one or the other. Now, it did benefit them. Elon Musk put up hundreds of millions of dollars to secure this election. Really, he put up more money than that because he bought Twitter so that he can have this sort of political power in the first place. By securing Twitter, he secured the election, right? The problem is Donald Trump did not just say yes to Elon, right? Donald Trump said yes to everybody who's willing to help, right? He said yes to the Zios. He said yes to the Crip Bros. You understand me? He said yes to big oil. He said yes to big energy. So Elon Musk came on and said, not only that, I'm going to be the Doge. The Doge, if you go look at ancient Venice, when Rome fell, you start to see these oligarch systems come about, where you have unelected officials with official power, though. So there's a couple of months ago, Elon was the biggest problem, right, on everybody's radar. And then his stock started to tank, started to go down and down and down and down. And he realized coupling his image, right, with MAGA was not a good thing for him. Even though they was able to get the election, they didn't realize a lot of Democrats and a lot of business people are tied up into his Tesla stock, right? So now people are afraid to wear Teslas because Tesla became the new MAGA hat. But Donald Trump, he said, I need to do what's fiscally responsible. But he also has ties to so many other people. And big oil does not just disappear. We live in a time where it's a new world versus an old world. And when you have a new world coming in, there's a clash between worlds. The oil world, the energy world, new money, old money, tech bros, established institutions, right? You have to come in and regut and destroy everything, right? And Donald Trump is just about doing that. America is up for sale, essentially. The great privatization of America is here, right? So now we're seeing everything from $5 million green cards to he might even possibly let Diddy out. But what a lot of the MAGA bros did not understand, especially as they found their identity in this party, right? A lot of men were lonely and looking for some sort of hope and inspiration. And then here comes the red shift. The red shift happens when you had all of these political, or when you had all these podcasts who normally were not considered to be political, start talking about politics. See, celebrities were disconnected because they didn't talk about politics or religion. These podcasts did. Gave them a connection with their audience, guiding them on things that were taboo to talk about for any celebrity. But the popularity of such people as podcasters like Joe Rogan found a connection as he was giving guidance and wisdom and big broing and uncling, right? The little guys, when they was looking for themselves. So now they're able to work out. They have ideas about what it means to be God, or Jordan Peterson telling them what it means to be a Christian. You know, he got that voice, that one voice where sometimes Jordan Peterson, he can drop some keys, and then sometimes Jordan Peterson says a whole lot of nothing. It's just a lot of Petersonisms that he be dropping. Well, I think the one fundamental thing about thinking is that it abstracts thoughts. And when thought is abstracted, you get to a really peculiar place that you can feel the presence of, and it's like, bro, you ain't really saying nothing. But the way he is able to put together his voice, you know what I mean, in this pressurized condition and these tones, makes it feel like he's saying something. And sometimes he do drop some bars. So a lot of young men that was looking for guidance, looking for father figures, you understand me, or looking for a rich uncle, they found it in this new base, an identity. Cognitive warfare is like that, right? It doesn't just teach you what to think, it teaches you how to think. So at a time where your two uncles, you understand me, are fighting, you're saying, I thought one was going to save America, another one was going to fix America. And it's like, wait a minute. I had an identity on these guys working together. I had an identity on this being the future. Where do I go from here? This is going to create more nihilism where you're bleak about the future. You're going to be burnt out from the news because you're like, oh, what do I do? There's going to be memeism, warfare. But the problem is that Elon Musk has a lot of control over media and the way perception warfare plays out, narrative warfare plays out, rather. See, he can play the game and pivot in ways that I don't think Donald Trump can. I think Elon Musk has probably a 60 to 65% chance of winning, right, in a court of public opinion when it comes to what he's doing. I don't think they never wanted to hate Elon Musk, right? And we see Elon Musk get swapped up because his boy became a girl and then he was mad at the whole world. Or at least he became what they become when they say they become other than what they was. Y'all figure that out. And so he got mad, and then he called it the woke mind virus. And then that's when he got shifted over to the red, right? Then you got figures behind the scenes like Curtis Yarvin, right, which is a philosopher who teaches them about technocracy and the end of democracy and accelerationism and Christian nationalism and all these different things. Then you got guys like Peter Thiel, who is quarterbacking plays behind the scenes. Then you got the Zios quarterbacking more plays. It's a lot of stuff going on in the world. Then you got Donald Trump just trying to get him some money. You understand me? His family making a whole lot of money, 10 plus wallets, did over $10 million, while the rest of people mostly sunk. Whatever money that they put into it just made their pockets fatter. Crypto bros is not exactly happy with this administration because Bitcoin should be higher than what it is. Sure, it reached a new high, but that new high wasn't that much more high. You understand me what I'm saying? Let's just think about it, right? It was somewhere around 107,000, reached a high or the bite. Now it's around 110,000. And we acting like that $3,000 difference is making the world. And it is not. XRP had it high. Now it's somewhere around $2.10 to 30 cents. Ethereum, it ain't nowhere right now, right? And so I think people are fed up because the ideas that they had were supposed to come true right now, right? We're past 100 days. They're probably going to be replacing Elon Musk with the Project 2025 founder. And a lot of people, including like the Candace Owens of the world, who's been a heavy advocate against Donald Trump because she doesn't like what he's been doing with the Zios. Now, Elon Musk came out and he pulled a big move. He pulled the Kendrick playbook. You understand me? Straight out of Compton. He said, "You're not like us." He said, "You a certified pedophile," right? He said, "You was on them Epstein list." And that's the only reason that we don't have the full one. And then Donald Trump was like, whoa, brother. You keep talking like that, I'm going to get rid of even more money for you. Because he said, man, if you was going to turn them, you should have been turning them. You already knew I was going to cut your lights off. You know what I'm saying? So they dropping diss track after diss track. And this thing can get really ugly. Start sharing secrets about each other, meme warfare, right? Trying to figure out who can create the perception of what the other is perceived in the minds of the masses. Donald Trump is a populist president. He don't like people putting smut on his name. You put smut on that man's name, but you got to play careful because you're using his campaign to smut his name. So this could be dangerous, right? Because you calling a man a pedophile on his own platform. I don't think that bodes well with Elon Musk. Now, again, some people are saying that this really is just so that Elon can separate and his companies can seem separate. You're going to see, during this turmoil, you're going to see the Tesla stock fall. So some people are going to be putting puts on Tesla stock. But this conflict is not good for the whole country. So you can see the whole S&P fall, QQQ, all of these things fall. When you have cohesiveness and you know what's going to happen, the market goes up. But when you have conflict, and the most dangerous thing to America is its own citizens and its internal conflict. That's one of the biggest issues. The problem today is you never knowing what's a distraction, what's a playbook. At that level, you have to assume everything is a playbook. And what you're receiving is just a part of the strategy. And if you're hyper vigilant like that, nobody's running a psyop on you. So as this civil war is unfolding inside MAGA, one side wraps itself in tradition, nationalism, and oil, which is, who y'all think? Donald Trump. The other charges for it were futurism, digital feudalism, right? And energy, right? And of course, the people are going to have to decide what future that they like, which one they don't like. You're going to see the Charlie Kirks capping for Donald Trump. You understand me? You're going to see the Candace Owens say, "No, I told you about Donald," right? You're going to see the Andrew Tate say, "Whoa, I don't know who to go on this." You understand me? But he's going to find a way to make jokes about which side he thinks is going the right way and why he might even think the elites are on this pedophile stuff. That one comes up as a big one for the base of the MAGA because they built their whole platform off this. It's draining the swamp. They built it off this idea, we're going to get in there and we're going to clean up America. Now, Donald Trump is running the same playbook for the most part as far as America as usual. Things for the elites and nothing for the poor. Well, if it's nothing for the people, and Elon Musk is trying to line him up to say, well, I'm a man of the poor. The man said we need a new party. So he's pulling the Diddy playbook as well, because now he on his politics saying we need a people's party. Some people say, man, we got People's Party, Libertarian Party, and all these other new parties. He said, I don't want to go to that party. He now doing polls on Twitter because he's trying to show how much power he has, right? Now, here's the thing. If he wins, it sets a dangerous precedent because then it says that he's the king of America over the sitting president. Think about that he has more power than the elected official. He is now the unofficial power in America. So maybe this is part of the problem. Maybe this is the thing where Donald Trump already knew he was going to have to seek power to him. Now, Elon Musk is his unchecked, unelected power if he wins this perception battle in the eyes of the American people. Because it's all about winning over the people, because you can't do nothing without the people. Otherwise, you got to go against the people. And nobody really wants that because that's civil, Some go laugh at the fallout. But if you're wise, you see this as an opportunity and a fracture. People don't need new leaders. They need new selves. This is why I say save yourself. Remind yourself of who you are, right? Disconnect from the political ring and get back to who you are. Get back in the ring of self and fight for who you are. Fight for your identity. Remind yourself. Reconnect with friends. Stop going back and forth over politics with people. You understand me? Get back with the people and build with people. During this time, you should be collecting assets, building our communities, and focusing on building parallel worlds to the one that's fallen. That's the key. Sip me some of this water. That's that good stuff. That's that good stuff. So we're not just in a political crisis, we're in a dopamine crisis. We're in a masculinity crisis, right? We're in a crisis of clarity because people don't know what to think. And when people don't know what to think, they make very bad decisions. They get very nihilistic about the future and they go super dark. And this is unprecedented territory that we've never seen in American history. A sitting president going toe-to-toe with the perceived richest man in the world. What effects does that have on the people is what I'm always studying to look for. As people are looking for new identities, it's the perfect opportunity for leaders to give them inspiration. A lot of people are going to want to fight against people. I think it's better for you to connect with those same people. Instead of telling them, I told you so, you understand me? Give them some guidance on what moving forward with. What happened when they was able to shift people over to the red is they used a strategy, right? The Southern strategy where they found misalignment, right? When you were misaligned with democratic values or whatever values you had before, they said, listen, while you're looking for help, come over here. We're realigning with your values. We're conservative. We're draining the swamp. This is your place. Find your brotherhood amongst us. We welcome you in open arms. So I think while people are going to be saying, I told you so, they're missing an opportunity to spread the values that they believe in, right? That reconnect somebody to another identity so that you now can strengthen party lines. Now, I'm not talking about the Democrats. They done cooked, toasted, and roasted. Ain't nobody going back to them, right? But I think there should be new type of parties that pop up, right? And I'm talking about from the things that we're building out in our communities and the leaders that exist in our communities is to establish your values louder and louder. We're against the media. We're against the boule. We're against these narratives that Hollywood has shared all this time. We're against over government reach. We're against them creating platform or profiles against us. Like, I shared this with Rashad a long time ago. Like, Palantir is going to be the new Tesla for the government. Palantir is creating a database of all the citizens, and that database is very dangerous. It tracks everything, right? You may say something that they've deemed to be illegal or something against the government. It'll track you saying that, Once that do that, it starts to create a profile of who you know, who you comment with, where you go. You understand me? All the things that you do, right? So they can start tracking whether you're dangerous on their side or not on their side. And then all the people who not saying that are saying the opposite. They're building up these digital wars so that you have their side against your side. And they're going to be utilizing this digital cognitive warfare to shift people over in different directions, right? And they're utilizing these vast, intelligent AI systems to do so. You should look that up. It's a very dangerous world that's coming. So power does not like depending on anybody else. So again, once you do a man a favor, you have to be careful of rubbing that favor in his face, because your very presence reminds them of their powerlessness, especially with men. And I think that's what happens also with these camps. They start working together, but just the fact that you hear that you got your kid on your neck and he's cursing me out, telling me I ain't the president, reminds me of everything I had to give up in order to get here. And so now that he's not facing jail anymore, he wants true freedom. And true freedom, in that sense, is real power, unchecked power, total power. Of course, that'll never happen because he gave him too many favors to so many people to where, promises made, promises kept. That's what he says. So there's going to be a lot of irritation and emotional fatigue that happens during this time. You understand me? But I want people to understand that, and I'm talking about you, that you're not weak. You're responding to electromagnetic activity in the atmosphere. You're responding to the solar maximum that's happening. Sometimes we get cosmic anxiety because there's things that we can't control. And during that time, what you do is you take digital fast, right? And you focus on your cognitive rituals to increase your capacity and your clarity during a time where things can bring you fogginess. This is very important. This is very key. So therefore, you stay in harmony and not balance. Balance is walking this tightrope of tension all the time. No, 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 no. This is a time for harmony. This is a time where we're no longer pushing modern man or traditional masculinity, but original man. See, the original man, he understood how to connect to Mother Nature. He understood how to sell utilizing the cosmos, to create agriculture and civilization, how to hunt, how to become a steward and not just a leader. The original man is a steward leadership. See, steward inherits something that he takes care of and manages and protects. Where leadership guides to a goal and a vision, right? It's a different type of thing. And as men, we inherited great power. We're stewards of that power. We're stewards of this planet. We inherited civilizations. We weren't born in a time where we had to build up a civilization. We're already here. So we kind of kid ourselves in the ego that we need to be leaders when we really need to be stewards, right? And we need to get back to what it means to be original man and original women and stop questioning what it means to be a man and woman and just be, right? Get back in tune with the flow instead of the balance of trying to live in man's world, because man's world will leave you stressed out and aggressive towards the people you're supposed to be loving. We know more about the world than we now know about our friends, family members, and loved ones, because social media has made us more disconnected than ever. We know about things, we don't really know of them, right? We know each other, but we don't really know each other. So now we're living in a time where man has more social connections, but feel lonelier than ever. How did this happen? Because they sold ideas to you. They didn't sell reality. They sold desires and not needs. And there was a lot of things that you desire that you do not need, because America was built off the dark desires of the human being. Feminism was born out of desires, not needs. This new masculinity points you to desires and not needs. So what becomes the future is rituals of cognitive wellness, neural adaptation, to where you start to increase your clarity so that as the world feels like it's coming to you, you feel better and more adapt to deal with it. It's very important during this time that we take some silence, some space, some digital detoxing. When there's a war going on Twitter, you don't engage in a war. The way you win is go offline. Why? Because Every single post, every meme is a suggestion. It's an influence. Trying to get you to think one way, to see something one way, perceive it one way, to ride with this narrative, to see yourself in it one way. And it's all there to control you. But if you disconnect from it, you stay yourself. So why would you be on the platform? Why there's a war, and the digital war that can only happen in a digital war is just to change the minds of the people. That's all that can happen. You're the product. The war is for you. It's for your belief. It's for your identity. So when you have disconnection in the social world and we create more than we consume, we get back to being humans and we're less controlled and we're more in flow. Don't get caught up in this war. When people tell you it's a distraction, it is, but they never tell you what it's a distraction from. I'm here to tell you what the distraction is from. The distraction is from yourself, your true self, your higher self, your optimized self, the self that loves to look in the mirror and see a real version of themselves, the self that feels good, the self that feels clear, the self that knows where they're going and what they're doing, the self that is not always questioning itself or looking for itself, the self that is reminded, the self that is high, the self that loves, that shares, that builds, that operates in coordination and harmonization and synchronization with the universe. You remember when you was a child and you felt great, balanced energy, like you can do anything you dreamed, you visioned. Now you're just trying to keep up. And it feels like you're getting behind. And even though you're living in a world of abundance, that actually freedom starts to feel like a trap. Because more decisions to make makes it harder to make decisions. You're starting to get cognitive fatigue. You don't even want to think anymore. You're relegating that to ChatGPT and Claude or Perplexity. And it's actually killing your intellect and your critical thinking skills. So it feels like you have more access to information, but you actually feel less capable than ever before. That's why disconnection from that world and reconnection with yourself is important. See, when I put together Supermind, it's what I had in mind. I spent the last 7 to 10 years studying macro to micro trends, where technology is going, where's the future going. And I realized we have all the technology we ever want. Technology will continue to advance. And I seen a friend of mine saying that it's hard for him to keep up with tech. And he's in a tech space, and that's literally his job, is to keep people updated on technology. But every day, it's a new system. Something else is being created. Something else is being born. And I'm like, that's because you're looking at it the wrong way. If somebody asks, is this live? Yes, it is live. I flow like this. I have a superior mind, a super mind. I don't need ChatGPT or Claude because I focus on developing cognitive rituals, utilizing nootropics, adaptogens to help rewire my brain so that at a time where I didn't feel like I was the smartest, the brightest, I used to forget things a lot. I was actually dyslexic for a long time, right? I would twist up so many different things. And I just knew I had more capability and more potential in me, right? And I fell in love with the idea of like, cognitive enhancements and nootropics, things that you can use that come from the earth, right? That can actually become cognitive rituals and stacks that can help you increase your bandwidth. But I didn't want to become so dependent on them to the point to where without them that I didn't feel like myself. And that's what these AI systems are becoming. Without them, do you feel like you? The days where you have supreme cognitive clarity and you feel like you can talk to anybody, do anything. And then without it, you feel like you need all these external things. It's not good. It's not good at all. So neuroadaptation is essentially when you get to the point where your brain rewires to where it stays like that. Whether you're utilizing the nootropic the lion's mane of cordyceps or whatever other thing you're doing. I mean, I've been drinking colloidal gold water for the last 10 years. Drinking gold, quite literally. And I remember some people was telling me, yo, you drink gold? And I'm like, you drink liquor, a toxin for the body. I drink gold, a mineral for the body. It's just different. But then it gets to the point where if you combine your cognitive rituals, right, with like reading and learning and exposure and experience, when you're at that level and you feel good, it sticks. Those neurons rewire, that neuroplasticity sticks. Then you have neural adaptation to where you didn't just feel like you had a higher IQ or EQ. You're not actually there. And that's what I want us to get to, because the future is not about what new technology is happening. The future is cognition. It's going to be about how clear do you feel today? Do you have clarity? Do you have capacity? Do you have cognitive awareness? Right? Like that's going to mean more, because the tools are going to keep getting better. But will we? Will we? Every day I wake up and I put together a stack. I do some transcendental meditation, a little bit of journaling, some affirmation. I drink my Supermind coffee with intention, right? And this is all before 12 o'clock, because even though this has lion's mane cordyceps, which are birth nootropics rather, and adaptogens, it has a little caffeine in here as well, but it don't give you the jitters. But before 12 o'clock, because coffee has a half-life, which means if you take 100 milliliters of caffeine, then let's say if you take it at 12 o'clock, around 5 o'clock, let's say that it has only 50 milliliters still in your system, and around 10 o'clock, the idea is that it's down to 0. And the beauty of it is that it don't cut off your sleep rhythm, because rest is very important. Rest is leisure. I can't trust nobody that don't get rest, because you're not at your best self. You prioritize everything more important than yourself, and you're missing something, trying to fill in a void. Rest, find harmony, find flow, especially in today's time. And even for the people that sometimes people try, like the gold water, some people, they experience effects and other people don't. And I tell people, you have to make those things work for you. What does that mean? It means the cleaner you are, the greater your absorption rate on things, right? People think that they can live a negative lifestyle and feel positive by just throwing in a few rituals. Like, no, you're blocking your blessings, quite literally. Doesn't work that way. That's why when I drink my Supermind, I don't put any sugar in it. I don't even put no milk in it. I just take it straight up. It's not bitter. It's actually very smooth. But if you are not clean on the inside, you can't be taking nootropics and adaptogens and thinking you're going to be getting the same results as somebody else. It's the same thing as you using social media. It might not be giving you the results because you don't have clarity. It's giving you anxiety. Whether we're utilizing AI or HI, and HI, of course, is our human intelligence, or utilizing artificial intelligence, the goal is not to become reliant on outside entities. When I look at this war between these two men, and at first it went from Trump to Biden to Trump to Kamala to Trump to Elon, it's just conflict. Don't have your mind in conflict. Have your mind in peace. The more you indulge in these things, the bleaker you think about the world. When the reality of it is that the world is not what's happening on the news. The world is what's happening outside the news. If I cut off the news and I spend time with my friends and family, and we spend time building and creating, I'm living in a very good world. But if I'm spending time in a phone and all I see is conflict and racism and political energy going towards desolate ideas and topics and nihilistic viewpoints and negativity, I'm in a bad world. Your world is your cognitive state. Your world is your cognitive state. how you feel, how clear you're thinking. That's what it's really about. So be careful what you consume because it produces how you feel, and your feeling becomes your frequency. That frequency becomes, your rhythm. That rhythm becomes your life because it becomes your character. It informs you how to move, how to think. Water. So we're living in a day and age where we don't need weak minds. We need super minds. You have to be able to cut through the bush. You have to be able to see the play that's happening, know how to strategize and move around it. Do not get caught up in the social media world, the landscape. Do not get caught up in this BS. Know the difference. Know yourself. Let them fight. Let all these things happen. But center yourself, no matter how long it takes. Maybe it takes you a few days without social media. Decompress. Get back to yourself. Write down how you feel. The other day I was mad because my landscaper, he cut this tree. And this tree, I would go outside, I would talk to the tree quite literally. And I felt the presence of the tree. It was this limb that was extending to my back door, right? It was getting so close. Like when I first had the tree didn't have none of these limbs, and it was getting closer and closer, like it was just trying to reach out for a handshake. So I would go out, sit down, and I would commune with nature. Then I came out one day and the landscaper cut down the limbs of the tree, and I actually felt disappointed. Like I felt, loss, which is interesting because before that, I realized that I've been so disconnected from nature and so connected online. People say get back to your roots. Maybe it might really be grounding outside. Listening to the wind, enjoying the sun, staring at stars, studying the rhythms of the universe, writing, journaling, asking yourself how you feel, getting back to your imagination. I had a great conversation before this, about 2-3 hours, talking to my brother, Mr. Grateful, about the future of this brand we built it. And so many thoughts were sparking. And I realized, like, wow, I've been in this world where my imagination hasn't always been fed this way that it used to be. When I was a child, all I had was ideas. And we live in a world where creative intelligence is the most important type because the machine is intelligent. It can do the thing. Can you think it? You have to get back to your imagination. You got to get back to your creativity. And I'm at a creative peak right now where my mind produces worlds. My mind produces worlds. You have to know your gift. What does your mind do? And it takes time to get those cobwebs off of dealing with the world to getting back to your mind. Getting back to the center of self. So do not try. Do not be caught up in this space with Elon and Trump and MAGA and Democrat. How much of that is distracting you from life, goals, dreams, visions, family, community, connection? Those are more important lists than the other things. Become original men and women again. Think about ancestral practice. Don't do the things the CIA wants you to do. Gender wars, fighting, political wars. Those are psyops. None of that matters. Be original men and women, not traditional men or new age men or red pill and all that crap. All these new terms and identities. We are the oldest technology on the planet Earth. There's an original instruction book. These new age things, these scientists, they don't know human beings like our ancestral wisdom does. And we have too much information and not enough wisdom. Information makes you think you know it all, and it's the enemy of wisdom. Because a wise man knows he knows nothing. That his knowledge is just a ladle of the ocean, and a ladle is like a small spoon, and that's how much you'll know in your lifetime. Let it go. So, while they're at war, don't be at war with yourself, battling, scrolling, overstimulated. Tap in. Focus on your daily rituals. Focus on your meditation, your journey, your affirmations. Listening to the music frequencies, waking up with the sun, going to sleep with it, eating correct foods, working out, training. Focus on your visions, your dreams, and becoming successful daily. Daily success is the key here. How did you feel today? Did you communicate with friends, families? Did you have goals that you completed today? Daily success. We're not talking about monthly, no, just daily success. And what does it mean to be successful daily? It means to make progress daily. That's something much more manageable. Daily success, daily rituals, daily cognition. And eventually it adds up to a very good life. We're getting back to being original men and women, being in flow. We're no more questioning about masculinity or alpha or beta man or whether that's a feminine one. Just get back to your original self. Get back to the original man and the original woman. When we argue with others, we're just arguing with ourselves because we do not know. If the most powerful man in America and the richest man in the world are arguing on Twitter, it makes you think that nothing is below you. Because if they can do it, then you can do it. That's another psyop. Don't get caught in that conflict exchange. It's going to affect the whole world. Anytime something happens at a global level, and two of the most famous men on the planet Earth are going at it, similar to the Kendrick Lamar and Drake conflict. We're now going to see more embers of conflict happen. Do not let that spill over in your life. Peace, family. It's 19 Keys, and I appreciate y'all tapping in. Y'all can go to asupermind.com for your clarity. You support this mission of what we're doing, bringing clarity to the culture, consciousness in a cup. I went to Boston, New York, Oakland, and the reason why we chose to start off with coffee as this bridge, because I've been doing my studies, and what I realized, and I'm gonna tell this story a lot, because it's one of the most important ones that I got to. Our generation was raised off Hollywood, and we don't realize how much it affected us. Hollywood informed us what kind of masculinity we should develop, what kind of habits that masculinity has. But of course, grew up in a Muslim household, so we was taught what not to do in the ways of the world. Don't go to the club, don't drink, right? We didn't listen to all those things, of course. We went to the club, we drank, we got in trouble, we got in fights, we got women, we fornicated, did all the crazy stuff. But also seen all those things in the movies. James Bond, he liked his martini, shaking, not stirred. The tough guy getting in that fights in the bar, right? They go into the pub to drink their problems away instead of think through them and process them. It told us what masculinity was and what manhood was by giving us these figures and connecting products to them. And I never realized, it never came to me that the liquor industry lobbied Hollywood to create these scenes. Never came to mind. That the reality of it is men used to drink coffee and they would have stimulating conversations that was intellectual and build with each other. It wasn't the dumb brute or the fool. It was the cunning, the charismatic, the smooth, the intellectual, the thinker. He was the popular one because that was the one that lead the pack. The warrior was smart. He always had something to say. He could guide others, give them wisdom and teach them. But then they started dumbing down masculinity to where it made you feel like the things you had outside of yourself, your car, Even your muscles that you show people are more important than your ability to think, intellectualize, to be a critical thinker, to process your emotions. They gave us these identities, and they gave us product with these identities, and they gave us spaces, and these became our rituals, and we started living our lives based on the narrative that Hollywood sold us. When I've been studying history, history shows us that men had coffee houses, and these were spaces where they would study politics, philosophy, astronomy, music, culture. They would get dressed. There was rituals of pouring, and it was a stimulant for the mind. It even got to a point where it was even called the wine of Islam, because these were spaces to how you figure out how to live a sober reality and enjoy yourself. And we've been curated such a small niche of reality because they realized that if you live like this, we can sell you in products in conjunction with that lifestyle and those desires. So now we have more desires than ever, which means we need more discipline than ever. And man only has so much discipline in a day. We have more desires than discipline. And the more we desire, more discipline we need. So the goal is to decrease your desires. Instead of increasing your discipline, what if you just decrease your desires? As a correlation, you become more disciplined. You enjoy and you love yourself more. So you get rid of the porn addictions, and you get rid of the dating apps, and you stop going to the clubs. And what if you actually talk to a woman and had a stimulating conversation? What if you and your friend group actually build upon real things when y'all with each other versus just sports conversations and political nonsense? And when you get by yourself, you realize that things that matter to you the most, you never even spoke about. And there you go, stuck feeling disconnected again. So I want to change that reality. And I believe at the root of revolution, right? I think we change it by changing how we think, how we see ourselves, by our very identity. We disconnected from Hollywood media driven narratives, and we get back to our original selves. The next generation, they were born on social media, so social media informed their identity. That's why they look like the internet. And they drink less because they took less narratives from Hollywood. And now they're trying to figure out sober rituals, things they can do with their friends to bring back connection. So I said, let me see if I can create this cognitive renaissance where we focus on stimulating ourselves at a high level instead of just getting high. We focus on connection instead of disconnection, because going to the bar and the club is disconnection, not actual connection. Can't actually get to know nobody. What if we met in the morning for coffee and we building out social apps and hardware that connect these things together? And what if the foods we eat was actually good for our brain and actually made us feel better about ourselves, and we woke up the next day feeling great instead of groggy with a hangover? And we didn't try to escape our lives, but we wanted to feel more of life. What if we wanted to hear more, feel more, see more, right? Life becomes more vivid the healthier you are. So instead of having all these toxic habits that destroy your energy, that destroy your soul, your spirit, your life, that decrease your life, what if we traded those out to get back to our original self like the original man did? The original man used herbs, used spices, used nootropics. He biohacked by being in connection with the sun. You know what I mean? His cold plunge was jumping into the ocean. He had a social life where they remind him who he was instead of trying to find his purpose. We are ascendants from ancestors who had super minds because they knew how to live in harmony. So again, this has been a journey, and we're on this journey to build out what I think is the most important movement, to build out these spaces that become sacred again as stimulators, to build out these rituals that become sacred again as stimulators. So as the world feels like it's coming to us, we're prepared for anything because we have clarity. So this has been a tough journey because building out anything, it requires so much more of yourself. Every day we're working, we're designing, we're figuring out how to go on this journey, how to build it out. So I'm not that interested in the war that these guys are having because I'm having my own battles of making this shift, you know what I mean, daily. And I think that if I can help change the daily rituals and habits of our people, then I think that's my best addition to the world. Because if you ever try to reach somebody who don't even have cognitive clarity, they can only hear you 10% of the time. You can give them a full speech and they remember 5% of it. So I believe the shift starts with our rituals and our habits. And that's what this brand is about for me. Right? The color red is about being alert. It's about energy. It's about urgency. It's about taking that charge. It's about vitality. We're going to play with this color, like a burgundy one, kind of like this note right here. Right? I've been reaching out to all my friends, giving them some of the mushroom coffee. It's going to be organic. It's going to be a tough battle of shifting people habits because this is all healthy and good for you, but we're going to get it done. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in, and I'll be sharing more of this journey with you all. But again, it's all about detoxing from the world. I don't know if this is a real word, but retoxing to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of the world and get back to yourself, and we'll all be great. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and press like on this and share this with somebody else that you want to connect with so that y'all on the same frequency. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all as y'all brother. You know what I mean? To many, they call me the Big Brother Keys. Man, I'm here to just help give you some guidance in a time where we feel lost. Because I get it too sometimes. I get it too when you disconnected from family, you wish they was doing better. You know, I get it too where it feels like 50% of the time, sometimes you feel like you're great, and other times you by yourself trying to figure out the world. But those are the times that make you, where you remind yourself of your purpose and you keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it's worthy. Right? And I want people to really feel like themselves, like when you started and you was optimist. And I realized that it's probably just a few tweaks you need to make in your life that'll make you feel great about the journey you're on. And it's not the money. The money is a byproduct of the clarity. So, peace to the family. Go to asupermind.com. Make sure you tag me in it. And I'd love to see what kind of recipes y'all do. You understand me? And I would love to know why you chose Supermind as well. It's the best tasting on the market. We put a lot of energy and love into this product. This is not white labeled. You understand me? We really focus on sourcing the ingredients, making sure they're pesticide free, they're organic, right? And they're the best on the market. So, peace to the family, peace to the gods.